NASCAR playoffs continue on NBC.
What up? So I am doing this video without my camera because I believe it lowers the quality of my video by a massive margin, and I really can't afford to buy a new camera at the moment. This is my first adventure into long form content, so join me for this. I'm really excited. Thanks for understanding though, and on with the video. So this is how the video is going to work. We will be looking at the race through three main topics. First, the stories going into the race. Second, a summary of the race. And third, stories leaving the race. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Part 1, the lead up to the race itself. So before we get into the actual lead up to this race, we gotta understand how the weekend was. The weekend was plagued with rain, leading to qualifying for the Cup Series being rained out. And even though Cup qualifying was rained out, they were still able to start and finish the Nationwide Series race the day prior to the Cup race. There's a couple interesting things about this race that you might already know. There was this big wreck.
Quite enough room over the front bumper of Eric McClure. And look what happened.
And it's tough to tell from that angle exactly who moved which direction, but
There was Reed Sorensen testing how high he could get into the air without flipping over. And finally, this absolutely incredible finish.
Here comes Regan Smith to the outside. Logano moves to try and pick him up. Smith to the bottom. Vickers turned around. Who gets to the checkered flag? Here they come to the stripe while they crash behind him. Unbelievable. Who won? Casey Kane, I think, is the winner.
With Regan Smith being the winner.
It's Regan Smith in the 7.
Another interesting thing is that it's incredibly dark during the finish of this race. That is because Talladega doesn't actually have lights, or at least lights that would be effective enough to shine across the entire track.
Can't even see right now. I know, but they're saying one to go. There's stuff all over the racetrack. We'll see what happens here.
Now, the interesting thing about that is that this would also come into play during the next day's Cup event, the 2013 Aaron's 499. The driver on pole was Carl Edwards, who got the pole because qualifying was rained out and his practice speeds were fastest. Some interesting starters were Denny Hamlin, who was returning from an injury at Auto Club, Michael Waltrip, who was running a part-time schedule shared with Brian Vickers and Mark Martin, David Reagan, who was now a veteran of the Cup Series, who started on row 10 in the 19th spot. He was running for Front Row, a team started in 2004 which hadn't scored a win yet in the series, and which mainly ran in the back of the pack. They were true underdogs, but Talladega always rewarded the underdog since its founding back in the late 60s. His teammate, David Gilliland, was starting in row 16 further back in the pack. But as some of you guys may know, they would find each other near the end of the race. Other notable names starting in the race included J.J. Yeley, both Bobby and Terry Labonte, Dave Blaney, father of Ryan Blaney, as well as Regan Smith, the winner of the previous day's race, and Michael McDowell, who he was running with Phil Parsons Racing at the time. And though he didn't have a great race, his name would be a key one to the storyline. With that all mentioned, let's move on to the main event.
Down here, that's a quarter mile further, and that can make all the difference as the field addresses itself to the starting line.
We make a big deal out of that because it is a big deal. And folks, this is the most enthusiastic crowd you're ever going to see. The green flag is in the air. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. Drivers!
The racing became quite intense early on, with Martin Truex Jr. leading the first lap.
Ready on turn 4. 3 wide all the way through the field, pretty much.
Don't forget the yellow line, the double yellow line down on the inside. You cannot dip below that.
Lap 1, Martin Truex.
If you do dip below it, or if you're forced below it, as long as you don't improve your position, no foul.
you wonder, Darrell, why we don't start 3 abreast, because we're going to be that way pretty quickly.
Yeah, we will be for a while.
The racing would string out, though, after a couple of laps, becoming double file with minimal passing up front. The field would start to pick back up as they passed the lap 20 mark. On lap 21, Travis Kvapil and Dale Earnhardt Jr. would get together.
Up the middle. Tell that guy spotter, let's go to the outside. That's good working together.
We saw Dale Jr. drop to the bottom and
Down.
And here's why.
Yeah, you got some contact right there. You see some of the nose come off of the Burger King car right there and damage to that left rear.
Krista.
There was no caution. Well, until Trevor Bayne blew up in turn number 2 on lap 23.
And trouble in turn 1. A grenade. That is Trevor Bayne. Huge amount of smoke from Bayne's car, and that puts us under caution.
Yeah, he's up in smoke, and there's a huge trail of oil all through 1 and 2 down there.
With that caution, cars came down to pit, including Denny Hamlin, who had a driver swap with Brian Vickers, as Denny was still recovering from his injury and was only racing to gain extra points. The restart would be on lap 29, with Matt Kenseth leading. The racing stayed 2 wide and sometimes going 3 wide, with the top few cars staying in a single file line until lap 44, when the big one struck.
Crash in turn 1.
Huge crash, unbelievable crash.
Kyle Busch got into the back of Casey Kane. Kane got turned into the wall as Busch tried to change lanes. And a lot of cars are really torn up.
You're going to see Kyle Busch and Casey Kane. They're up near the front right here.
Kyle on the outside.
Kyle's
Kane
on the outside.
middle.
Kane in the middle. Kane comes up, and Kyle goes down. I think it's more like Kyle went down and Kane went up. They make a little light contact right here when Kyle looks like he's getting a push from Marcus Ambrose. Starts to move to the outside and catches the back of the 5 car Kane and sends him around. See Jamie McMurray, and there goes the 29 of Harvick.
Hamlin got hit by
Brian Vickers in it now, yeah.
Hamlin's car, Vickers, Ruderman,
the 70.
Stewart.
Martin Truex Jr. in 56 just basically all but stopped to keep from getting in it. Jeff Burton, you just had talked about him in the 31.
Danica Patrick Gilliland, here it is again.
Yeah, it just gets on that right rear corner, and then Casey comes off corrects and comes right into the side of the 18 car of Kyle Busch, and then it's on from there.
Yeah, a lot of
16.
A lot of drivers running from 3rd on back were involved in that.
Boy, Danica Patrick does a nice job of avoiding contact.
The cars that retired from this wreck included Kevin Harvick, David Ruderman, and Casey Kane. Also, this interesting thing happened.
Watch the green number 10 top of your screen after going to the apron and trying to get back up on track. Hey now, here comes Kyle Busch.
And that, you know what, Mike, that is just such good awareness right there. That 18 car is coming down that hill out of control. He's not driving his car.
And here's how she described it.
That was sketchy getting onto that last apron. The first apron was fine, but the second one was like, holy crap, I might just spin myself out going down here.
Why haven't I seen anything about that? Like, what happened? And after extensive cleanup, the race resumed on lap 52 with Kenseth leading again. Man, he was putting on a real dominant performance. The 2 and 3 wide racing resumed.
Looks like they got it repaired up pretty good.
3 wide as they come to the line, and Kenseth retakes the lead.
One interesting name who made their way up to the front and fought with Kenseth for a couple laps was Kurt Busch, who started further back. Keep an eye on his car later on. If you know, you know. The racing became single file once again, now for a longer stretch of time, with Kenseth leading.
And we're roughly now about 20 laps away from halfway. I think that's another reason these guys are racing so hard up near the front in a big pack.
This is where the Talladega Speedway is located. So at any moment, this could be the end of this race. I mean, I'm talking about the very next lap. We could see rain on the back straightaway or any part of this racetrack. So these teams are going to have to get their drivers to get up front, stay up front, and I mean fight to stay up front the way this weather's looking.
Then pit stops without any error, which was pretty interesting. As the flow of this race would be brought to a screeching halt, as the next caution was out for rain. This time on lap 124.
Matt Kenseth in the dust, and Jimmy Johnson has lost the lead.
Out. Yellow, yellow. Yellow is out.
Caution is out. Now, as 4 Fords lined up and march to the front, and it's time for windshield wipers. The rain has come to Talladega. We'll check on that as well. Now, as of the last scoring loop crossed before the yellow, Carl Edwards is the race leader. There's Edwards pulling out to pass, along with Joey Logano in the 22. And at the moment of caution, NASCAR goes back to the last scoring loop crossed, so that once the caution waves, no one can gain advantage. That puts Edwards in front.
With the pole sitter Carl Edwards leading now, and the red came shortly after. Surely this would end the race. I know that there's still some daylight hours left, but it's getting pretty dark. After a beefy wait, why would I say that? Why would I add that in the script? They would return to racing with, oh yeah, and Reagan led for a minute.
So David Reagan in the number 34 picked up the lead.
That's interesting. Another restart would happen with less than 60 laps remaining. The racing would pick up as this was getting close to the end.
To the scheduled distance. Green flag, Bobby Labonte, past Cup champion, and David Gilliland bring them down for the restart.
And you know, I said it's like a whole new race, and to these drivers, it really is. It's just like starting all over. Times get caught in that middle lane like that and can't go anywhere.
But I wish you'd look at this 3 by 3 by 3 as far as you can see back through the field.
Larry, they don't remember what happened in the first part of this race.
4 wide through the tri-oval.
4 wide.
Bobby Labonte, the leader.
Oh yeah, and Bobby Labonte went up and led some laps. That's cool. 3 and 4 wide would be the race from then on. Kenseth, the dominant driver, would keep moving up.
4 wide again. And plenty of room there with Stenhouse up top. Now a number of drivers pitted more than once before they waved the green flag. One of those was, whoa, here to the outside, Logano.
Whoa, Logano.
4 wide. And it's the 20. Once again, Matt Kenseth coming straight through the middle, threading the needle, and back toward the front.
Man, Kenseth. He makes this shit look easy. The people's favorite, Joey Logano, would run into troubles with 45 to go, with no caution as well. Racing would actually string out with Kenseth, of course, the head of the line. To be fair, this is a restrictor plate race in 2013, so it does make sense. With this clean and green style of racing, laps would then tick off with the final pit stops occurring within 21 laps remaining. Scott Speed would lead during a minute. Spot Speed. Scott Speed would lead. Scott Speed would lead for a minute during the pit stops, and then he would be replaced by Eric Almirola.
Scott Speed, the number 95 Levine Family Racing out of Texas, and the former Formula One driver, has a lap of the lead here. Now Eric Almirola goes by with the lead as Speed pulls off to make his stop. And we may have penalties on that first group of cars to come in as stops continue. Ricky Stenhouse too fast entering the pit road. Martin Truex too fast on pit road.
And we saw him 56 pass everybody to get on the pit road.
Johnson would leapfrog Kenseth during pit stops and would be ahead of the main train, the line of cars that would be back in the lead after everyone made pit stops. Oh look, Michael McDowell, where have you been? Oh, well, there's a caution. This time with 15 remaining.
To none, and Slim is on the way out of town.
Can we make it to the end without another caution? No way. You've been waiting, haven't you? I know Hamlin's been down there saying all along, we got another big one.
This is a disaster waiting to happen, and it's going to happen. Watch.
Man, the foreshadowing there by Denny Hamlin. And the green is back out with 10 laps remaining. Things were destined to get ugly from here on out.
To pass, I want to be leading. We'll see how that works out.
Well, as Denny Hamlin anticipated, Jimmy Johnson chose the inside, which will put Kurt Busch in that 78, another Chevrolet behind him. Kenseth with Carl Edwards behind him.
Look at Jimmy waving to Kurt. Let's go, let's go. Jimmy doesn't want to have to race with the 20 car if he can help it. Keep him hung out. Kurt is up there pushing Jimmy into turn one.
And Matt Kenseth, nobody quite close enough to him to help. Carl Edwards behind him, a full car length as they go to turn one. But that she needed to go with the people who could get to the front. Matt Kenseth in front on the outside. Strongest car all day. Will the cars in the outside lane have an edge?
Particularly the 2E1. He was hollering at the spotter. He was hollering at the crew chief. And I bet he's hollering at everybody right now. And Jimmy Johnson jumps up in front of him.
Yeah, Jimmy got so far out in front of the 78 of Kurt Busch, he had to change lanes in order not to get so far in front of the pack that they would suck up and draft by him.
And here's the deal.
Look at Regan Smith in that 51 getting a push from J.J. Yaley in the 36, making it 3 wide entering the tri-oval.
Where did they come from?
I don't know, but I know where they're headed. They're headed to the lead. There goes Regan right up alongside of Matt Kenseth in the 20.
7 to go. Regan Smith, yesterday's winner,
oh, baby,
goes to second
now. I believe that 51's going to take the lead.
23 drivers, less than a second separating them with 7 to go.
He couldn't. Whoa, he wanted to get down and couldn't.
Make sure you block the outside.
And now way to the outside comes J.J. Yaley. The unheralded driver driving for Tommy Baldwin in the 36, the ex-sprint car racer. Got right up even with the front with Stenhouse behind him. Couldn't clear.
Clear low if you need it.
Just a little 3-wide racing
now,
here.
clear all.
They moved up in front of Kenseth. Was that the right move? Here comes Johnson, and he's stuck in the middle.
Whoa, he was looking for a sweep, but I think he just got swept up.
Oh, they're going to freight train him around inside and outside. And again, Kenseth and Johnson, strongest cars all day. Back to the front, Kenseth in red, Johnson in blue. Carl Edwards right behind them.
Well, I'm with Denny on this one. They'll never make it another lap or two, Denny. I just don't see no way. This is crazy. Crazy
they ain't
stuff.
Gonna make it.
They got to make it 6 more times.
Oh, there they go. There we go. There was no way.
Oh, it's Kurt Busch up and over. Boyer's in it. Bobby Labonte's in it. Stremmy's in it. Jeff Gordon down to the grass.
Nothing else coming from behind you.
And Kurt Busch went over and over.
Boyer, McMurray.
They're just, guys, I'm with Denny. And, you know, having been in these situations several times, there's no way you can race that way and make it.
Ouchies.
And for the 6th time in 7 Talladega races, a pileup in the last 8 laps. Look at Ryan Newman's wrecked race car.
The 78 car, Kurt Busch, it is destroyed.
Oh, and J.J. Yaley on track for his 2nd top 10 restrictor plate finish. And Danica Patrick, both torn up.
It starts up on the outside here. Let's see. Right in here somewhere.
That's Regan Smith in the middle and Yaley up top.
Right here, the 51 car. Owen Stenhouse squeezes to the outside.
And that's Yaley in the 36.
And that shoved Yaley down. And look at that 78 car upside down and then lands on top of Ryan Newman's 39 car.
Bobby Labonte involved.
So it was Stenhouse, the rookie, trying to go 4 wide on the outside, running out of room with his number 17.
Yeah, and running out of time. I mean, he's, you know, desperate. And you see the 36 move down just a little bit. And Yaley and Stenhouse thought he could squeeze by on the next to the wall, and he just couldn't make it. And this gets ugly. Watch this thing.
Right on top of Ryan Newman.
Hadn't Ryan Newman had cars on top of him before here?
I think the 2009 race.
I think you're right.
Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards coming to the checkered flag.
Boy.
Speaking of Newman,
let's go to the care center, Matt Yoakum.
And Ryan Newman has walked out okay. You experienced it firsthand, having that 78 coming towards you in the air. Describe this wild ride, Warren.
First of all, to my family and friends, I'm doing this interview to let everybody know that I'm all right. They can build safer race cars, they can build safer walls, but they can't get their heads out of their asses far enough to keep them on the racetrack. And that's pretty disappointing. I wanted to make sure I get that point across. And y'all can figure out who they is, but that's no way to end a race. Our car was much better than that. It was just poor judgment and restarting the race, poor judgment. I mean, you got what you wanted, but poor judgment and running in the dark, running in the rain. It's just, that's it. Thank you.
We're glad you're okay.
Man, what a classic interview by Ryan Newman there. I feel bad watching this knowing that he's going to flip over one more time by the end of his career. Anyways, that was a 10-car pileup with 5 cars retiring. That being Kurt Busch, obviously, J.J. Yeley, Ryan Newman, Terry Labonte, and Danica Patrick. Oh yeah, and the darkness, by the way. It was getting pretty bad, but NASCAR gave 0 shits and said hell with that. I mean, there's only 2 laps left, but like, lol. They're racing. It's like extremely dark. By the way, how is David Ragan and David Gilliland doing? They don't have a shot, but unless they can get together and help each other get to the front, I don't think that they could beat Kenseth and Johnson and Edwards, who have all really controlled the race, but if they get together, they might be able to do something. I don't think that'll happen, though. Wait, what's the title of this video? Anyways, now for the finish, which, before I play it, I just wanted to add that in the upcoming seconds, you will hear my personal favorite call of all time, done by Mike Joy. Sorry, Alan Bestwick.
All right, pace car's about to turn left to pit road. Denny, who do you like?
I like the 20. I think he's got the best pusher behind him. I think he's going to win it.
Will Jimmy Johnson be content to push Matt Kenseth to the front without taking a chance at pulling alongside?
We're asking a lot to run over 5 miles without another caution, though.
I think Jimmy Johnson right now, he's got 2 wins. He's got a huge point lead. I think he'll do whatever he has to do to win this race.
Regan Smith drops to the inside. Big gap there. He's in 3rd on the low side behind Kenseth and Johnson.
Now, Carl Edwards in the 99 fell back a little bit, but getting a heck of a push from Eric Almirola in that 43. Now Edwards dives to the inside.
And Kenseth is able to drop in behind Edwards. Now we'll see what happens.
On the outside, Almirola, Reagan, and his teammate Gilliland. On the inside, Edwards, Kenseth, and Johnson. Here they come to the white flag. 1 lap to go.
And it's a race from here on, no matter what happens.
Johnson looked high. Kenseth to drag with Edwards. Johnson to the bottom. Almirola to the top.
Man, Matt got shuffled out again.
Jimmy Johnson with Carl Edwards. But Kenseth up the middle, coming back. Help from David Reagan. Up to the bumper of Carl Edwards. Reagan in the middle. His teammate Gilliland is the pusher. They're right on the bumper of Edwards. Is there anywhere to go? Reagan to the bottom. Gilliland with him. David Reagan, July winner at Daytona a couple of years ago. Gilliland with him. Edwards up top. Michael Waltrip to help. And here they come off turn 4.
Push, boys, push. Push hard.
Edwards high. Reagan comes up. Carl on the spot.
Reagan's got it. He's got it.
Front row racing is in the victory lane at Talladega. Reagan first. Gilliland second. How about that?
Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah.
Look at those teammates.
No, but this team.
You just think about David Reagan, David Gilliland, and their other teammate Josh Rice wrecked together early in the Daytona 500.
What a celebration. What a great win for this.
Bob Jenkins, the car owner, is...
They need to watch this race today. Goodness gracious. Can't believe we...
His dad, Ken Reagan, a longtime independent driver on the Sprint Cup circuit.
And one of the nicest young men you'll ever meet in your life.
Now that's emotion. David Reagan, what did it mean to pull that car into victory lane, and how did you do it?
I'm kind of a low-key guy. Man, I don't know. First off, I got to thank the Lord. You know, without him, nothing's possible. I got to thank my teammates, David Gillen, Josh Wise. I mean, if it wasn't for that final push from David Gillen, that loves trucks, travel stops Ford. Man, I don't know what to say. This is a true David versus Goliath moment here. Front Row Motorsports Ford. We got Farm Rich on our Ford this weekend, their first chance at a NASCAR race. They're not all this easy, but man, this is special to get Front Row Motorsports your first win. Feels like I've never been here before.
And you know, it's been my dream since I came to Front Row to get Bob Jenkins to victory lane, and this is about as much as I could help today. So I'm very proud of you know, our whole team, Front Row Motorsports. We got Love's Travel Stops on board, and what a great day for them. So what a great day for Front Row Motorsports. I mean, like you said, an underfunded team coming in here and being able to finish 1-2 is awesome.
Front Row Motorsports. Front Row Motorsports would continue to be an underdog team, snagging a second win with Chris Buescher in 2016, and more recently, 2 wins with Michael McDowell. What a full circle moment. I mean, he was the reason for the late restart anyways. This was Reagan's last career win. At least if he doesn't win this upcoming Daytona 500, because he'll be back in the RFK Ford number 60. That's right, this video is relevant to modern times. I'm not an idiot. Front Row will be fielding Kaz Gralla, Michael McDowell, as previously mentioned, Todd Gilliland. Wait, he was the son of David Gilliland, the other guy mentioned. Wow, this video just writes itself. So that was it, and what a race to start with. I feel like even though this race is pretty popular and people do remember it, it was overlooked. And I realized that it did deserve a video. Well, thanks for watching this long. I poured a lot of time into this, and I'm glad you guys joined me and stuck around. It does mean the world to me. With that being said, I think that is everything. Man, this video's gonna be a banger.